Robin.
I'm eating an energy wrap. Fucking peanut butter in my mouth. Love this stupid thing now.
The energy wraps? What's in them?
Energy? Yeah, energy really. It's a wheat wrap with peanut butter, granola, and mule cum. It's delicious.
Okay. And raisins.
Raisins, yeah.
Did you mention raisins?
I didn't.
It's the Opie and Anthony show minus Opie and Anthony because they're being dragged back to court by Sandy Kane herself.
Are you right?
That's right, Sandy. I guess she said that she got the wrong date or something the first time they summoned her or whatever.
Wrong time.
Wrong time. And somehow that worked, so...
I don't believe it.
I know, Sandy. But they're back there dealing with that. Luckily, you won't have to ever again because she surely won't be back here. Jim, you're very excited about the Ace Frehley book I see that you have there.
Yes, I am. I got it yesterday, and Roland brought me another copy today. We have Ace coming in. I have to read it.
Who's your favorite KISS member?
Ace Frehley.
He's your favorite. And he's your favorite to talk to as well?
I only talked to Paul once. Let me finish. I'm just trying to get this last bit of I have peanut butter in my mouth and granola. So there's no way I can even suck it down quietly.
What's important that you stay energized. I want you to, I mean, that's my priority. So if I need to, if I need to give you a few more minutes, I give you a few more minutes.
Ace became my favorite member. When I was a kid, it was Gene and Paul, but then Ace became...
Why?
Because he had the biggest real fuck you attitude, like for real. And he was just so laid back and cool. He was just a cool fucking guy.
Does has the Gene Simmons sort of product stuff turned you off at all? You don't care?
No, not at all, because it was probably that product stuff that made KISS the band they were in the 70s, like with the comic book and all that stuff. Like, people just didn't know that it was Gene pushing it. Because, again, there wasn't all these fucking reality shows where you could see that this is how things happened. But all the KISS dolls, KISS cards, all that shit came, I think, probably because the band, or at least him, looked at it that way.
Yeah.
So I can't resent him for it now.
Is this the first time Ace Frehley has put out a book? Wow. I would have assumed they would have put one out a long time ago.
Yeah, I think so. Ace is kind of like fucking hangback guy, like, what the fuck, fuck this.
Yeah. And then you just realize there's a lot of money to be made that he's just sitting back on, so why not put the book out?
Yeah, I love him. So he's become my favorite member of KISS, and he was the hardest one to meet.
He was great on the show.
He was, and I get to talk to him here, and then after my fucking Boneyard show.
Is that weird, after you interview somebody, then go and interview them again for another show?
No.
Do they ever care?
No, they love it. It's a different channel. It's more, and they've also had a half hour or 40 minutes here with me. Like Sebastian and Duff I knew, and Ace I kind of know from here. So no, they like the fact that you're talking to somebody comfortable and it's conversational on another show.
Are the interviews different than what goes on here?
Yeah, we don't usually cover the same stuff. Sometimes I will.
Ooh.
Sorry, my Diet Coke.
My.
But so I'll tell them we may cover a little of the same ground, especially if it's a book and you want to hit certain points.
Yeah.
But with Duff, I think, and Sebastian, I covered totally different stuff because they're very easy to talk to.
Because I said DJ Who Kid interviewed Duff McKagan for Shade 45, and like the level of unawareness was amazing. He goes, I was reading your book, and when you were with Guns N' Roses, you were talking about all the drugs and alcohol you were doing. I didn't know that was going on. I was like, what?
Well, plus that's for his. Don't forget for his audience.
I know
his audience, primarily a black audience. They might not be as familiar with Guns N' Roses.
And if Who Kid comes off like a GNR expert, they're going to be like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah. So it also, I think it helps. He's also talking from the point of view of his audience, like where they know who this guy is, but they don't probably know a lot about him. It's like when we interviewed T.I. He's coming in next week. Everybody knows who he is, but I don't know much about him. We have to I'll do some research.
Have you gotten a picture with him?
Yes. He turned me down for the first time.
I remember in D.C.
But I got him when he was here. He was fine.
Okay.
So I'll get him to sign it.
Yeah, he was here. He was out of jail for no time. He was here for a day right after he got out of jail the first time. And then like 2 weeks later, he's back in jail.
Yeah, he didn't last. Is he still in jail?
No, he's out now. He just got out of the halfway house.
It was for drugs, right? Or pot or something?
Yeah, I think he had ecstasy in his car and might have been some scissor, some codeine. He
really doesn't learn. He got out of jail last year, and a week later he was back in, and then he got out of jail this year, and like a week later he was right back in.
Yeah. I mean, it is amazing.
Get a limo driver. Get a driver, and then don't have any cocaine or a gun. Just fucking have somebody else hold your gun.
Yeah.
Give a guy $20,000 a fucking month to hold your gun.
In a different car.
Yeah, you should be in a different car because that's how they got Lil Wayne.
Why?
He didn't have the gun on him. I think he was in the shower of his bus or something, and they found the gun on the bus.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're in the car.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily they have to prove possession. They can't prove who's the owner of the bus. How did the fuck didn't unless his friends do? I'm talking a lot.
You should.
Energy rap really works. Holy shit, that energy rap really. What's in that thing? Fucking coke. But if he's on the bus, how could they prove possession unless one of his guys threw him under the bus? How? Because literally, you could get a tour bus and the driver could have a gun and you're responsible? No.
Well, I think his manager even said that's my gun, and they didn't believe him or something.
Fingerprints?
Maybe there were prints on it. I don't know.
I like to agree and burp talk.
Burps, yeah. When you, also I guess we're at the point now where the Wall Street march that the celebrities are now going in like a lot.
Oh, good. I'll go down there. Get some pictures.
Oh, it sounded like you were going to join them. Like, oh yes, us celebrities are going to be down there.
What would I say?
I heard driving in this morning that Russell Simmons, Susan Sarandon,
the same cast of characters,
and Kanye West were all down on Wall Street yesterday. I mean,
Russell brought Kanye.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he wanted to show him what was going on.
Show him what?
I don't know.
Kanye
walked through real quick and then left.
Well, yeah, because he's not going to hang out with a bunch of protesters.
No.
He's Kanye West, motherfucker.
I think Russell Simmons tweeted that he was so proud of Kanye's tolerance towards the crowd. Whatever that means.
Why? Because Kanye West is just going to flip out on them for no reason?
Yeah. I've had enough of Kanye West. He's really talented, but enough of the coddling of this guy.
Just awarding human behavior. Like, this is how you are expected to behave in society.
By the way, when I saw Russell Simmons, this is why people, I've harped on this before, but why I get photos is people really, did I talk about Sugar Ray Leonard?
Yeah, no, you talked to Troy me off the air.
This is why I just get photos of people and I don't acknowledge them really as people. Because they don't acknowledge me as, they don't give a fuck. Russell I've interviewed a couple times here, and I see him at an HBO premiere. He's polite, but I know he doesn't remember me, or if he does, it's meaningless. And I'm here recently because Sugar Ray Leonard and Hugh Jackman are doing a project. I've done Leno with Hugh Jackman, and we had Sugar Ray on for 40 minutes and gave him a great interview.
I mean, he almost cried on our interview.
Almost cried. And I had a photo with each one of them. So I was like, I'll just get them to sign the picture. I don't need another picture. Neither one of them recognized me. Like, Hugh Jackman was like, oh, where's this for? Like, it's of no value to them.
Tonight Show, I did it with you.
Which is fine, but then I was like, and they weren't rude. Like, Sugar Ray was nice.
Well,
but there was not an ounce of recognition.
I was about to say that people probably ask you to sign pictures, but you don't work with them.
I've had a million fans ask me to sign them. I almost never remember them. But you're right, we're not working together.
Yeah.
But I've also met radio guys who I had no recollection of meeting. Like, I was on your show, so I understand how that happens. That's why these guys weren't being dicks.
Yeah.
But that's why I look at them the way I do.
You don't kid yourself into thinking that even if you do end up having a conversation, that it means anything.
I don't delude myself into thinking it means a fucking... Like, will Ace remember me if I see him outside by face? No way.
But...
By name, no. Hey, there was a birthday cake. It was an asshole with a log of shit sticking out of it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That I remember.
But are there any celebrities, because as obsessive as you are about pictures, are there no celebrities that you would want to have an interaction with just for yourself? Like, for me, like, even more than taking a picture with a celebrity, I would rather have some kind of, even if it's 5 minutes, just a real conversation with them. They certainly won't remember ever having it.
Like who?
But just for me?
Yeah.
Like when I interviewed Bret Hart at Comic-Con, and he talked to me after the interview for like 20 minutes and had a real conversation with me about stuff.
Yeah.
That was way more important than any photo I'd ever gotten with him or anything. Now, I saw him at a signing, and he might have sort of remembered my face from somewhere, but he didn't remember the conversation.
Yeah.
But just having the conversation for me was, reward in and of itself.
Yeah, I agree. Usually once I have the photo, then I can relax and enjoy the other stuff.
Uh-huh.
But if I just had a conversation and they walked away, I'd be like, fuck, why did I get a picture?
So, like, say Ozzy, before you had a picture with Ozzy, if you got to have a 15-minute conversation with Ozzy, and then he left without taking a picture, you'd rather have just taken a picture?
Nah, I don't know, maybe, because a picture's something to kind of have and to put up in your house, and you can always look at it and go, oh, yeah. The conversation is one of those things that the other person doesn't give a fuck anyway.
Yeah, but it's a memory. It's like...
Yeah, I guess you're
I know
right.
you can't physically look at it, but it
it's a tough
happened.
question. I don't know. It's a tough question.
What about you, Travis? Is there anybody... Like, Travis is funny because he's like...
Is it queer for Pearl Jam?
No,
I was going to bring up Eddie Vedder during this.
I was going to ask you about Courtney Love.
Oh.
Travis has that ever been addressed on the air?
Yeah. No.
Was? Not really so much anymore?
No, not really so much. I think it's been fleetingly mentioned. I used to be obsessed with her.
He's been to...
Oh, yeah.
How many Courtney Love signings did you go to?
Signings?
Yeah, didn't you say you went and didn't you get like 3 pictures with her at a signing or something?
Oh, that's when she was hosting like 24 Hours on MTV. Okay. And yeah, I sat out there.
And you had to get more than one picture just in case?
Well, I got a picture with her. This was the second time I got a picture with her. Mm-hmm. I originally sat outside Howard's studio where we used to be at K-Rock in 98. Yeah, in 98 when she was doing Howard. Wow. And I got a picture there.
Was there people waiting for her?
Like 30 people maybe. Yeah.
She stopped and took pictures?
Yeah, she was very nice. She's always been really nice. I've met her like 3 times and she's always been really nice. But yeah, so I got a picture with her outside MTV and I didn't bring anybody with me, so I took the picture myself. Went home, immediately went to like Walmart and developed the disposable camera. Saw that the picture wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. Went back into the city to MTV to get another picture.
Like, why didn't you just go in this? Why'd you leave the city at all?
Well, because I had to go home at some point. She was there for 24 hours.
Oh, 24 hours.
Yeah, she was doing like a hosting.
Did she remember you the next day?
No.
Well, see, that's the thing for me too. I think that there's a greater likelihood that a 5 to 10 minute conversation will have an impact on the person than just taking a picture with them. And so a lot of times, like, I look at a picture of me and a celebrity, and at first it's exciting, and then after a while I'm just like, who cares?
But there's no impact. I interviewed Sugar Ray for 40 minutes. I read the book. I knew everything about him. I asked him good questions, and he liked it. He had fun. I made him laugh.
Yeah.
I always like when I can make guys who I like laugh. They don't give a fuck. But they don't remember. They don't give a shit.
But you never look at the pictures that you have as, like, empty?
In a way they are, but at least they're a fun thing. I can at least, to me, the visualization of it is more of a memory.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's not empty, the photos. I'm not saying that these photos mean more, but I know that the other person, to them, the conversation is meaningless. And I would almost rather have both of us have an equally meaningless interaction, which is a photo, than me thinking something means something that actually doesn't.
Do you think they would rather have a conversation with you or just take the picture and get it over with?
Depends on where and when. That's very, very...
Because I've met people, out in the lobby when we want to get pictures taken, and they'll start talking to me.
Yeah.
And I'm completely not ready for that.
Like Leah Thompson.
Yeah, like there are some celebrities who are genuinely nice and they want to talk to you and they want to just have a quick conversation with you. And I'm not ready for that. I'm just expecting to take a picture and be on my merry way.
You got no material.
No, I'm not ready.
I think there's some celebrities that would rather be treated like a human being and have a conversation.
Absolutely. Well, that's what I was going to bring up about Eddie Vedder. He really doesn't take a lot of pictures, and when people ask him, he's like, "No, let's just have. I'd rather talk to you. I'd rather have a quick conversation, shake your hand, than turn it into this big, I'm a celebrity. Let's take pictures type thing."
But will he take a picture after the conversation?
Generally, when he's coming out from like a show or something, no, because there's so many people waiting for him. He'll sit there, he'll shake everyone's hand, he'll say hi to everybody, but he won't take pictures with anybody.
See, that's a mental note for me. If I ever get a chance to meet Eddie Vedder, I just have somebody on the side with a camera, and I'll be like, "Hey, Eddie, you got time to just talk for a second?" And then have somebody take a picture of us talking.
And that's because he doesn't want to get. That's not him being a dick. He doesn't want to get bogged down with 200 photos.
He doesn't want to be an asshole, and he'd rather look at you and have a conversation than turn it into this giant. I want a picture. I want a picture. I want a picture.
Yeah, it becomes too much.
What about you, Sex Bagel Eric? Eric is obsessed with pictures and autographs. Like I've been in your apartment, Jim, but Eric's apartment is like covered in signed stuff.
I don't have that much. I have some. I don't have that many pictures showing. I have a few. Like, in my apartment. I have to find a better thing to do with them. They just go in these little books.
Like, do you prefer, Eric, having something signed or a picture or something you can look at, or actually getting to have an interaction with them?
Something I can look at. Like, getting the photo is nice, but if I can get the poster or a cover or something that I could frame and put with something together to kind of make it sort of like, I guess you want to call it art that I can hang up on the wall, I'd rather have that.
It's just interesting that you admire these people and obviously enough to put them up on your wall, But you don't really care about having a conversation.
Because I know they don't care about having one with me. I know they don't, because I'm also a performer, so I know that there are conversations I have that I value, and there are some that I forget the second they're over. But there are people I remember, but I know that I'm not going to be one of the memorable ones, because I think sometimes when I know people are trying to say something that's going to impact me, a lot of times it's not going to happen. So why am I any different?
Yeah,
Nothing I say is going to mean a fucking thing.
I think it's a mistake to try to have an impactful conversation or say that one thing that, but to just have to me, I don't know, just having a casual conversation with somebody like that and seeing them as a human being is like, that's the number one thing for me.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to talk to him about. It's almost like if they've seen me perform, like Jerry Cantrell, I didn't get a photo with him when I did the Gene Simmons roast. I kind of regretted that because he's kind of a legendary guy. And then we saw him at the Hard Rock, and he knows who I am, and he's like, hey, I want to come. And he wound up coming down to the Comedy Cellar. I picked him up at his hotel.
That's awesome.
And we hung out, and that's a different thing. Like, that's a guy.
Right, when it evolves into hanging out.
Yeah, and we talked and, rode down together. I actually took him to Dugal. I had to get pictures of other people who I'm getting photos with from The Wire. So I had to fucking Jerry Cantrell came into the photo place with me. He didn't know what I was getting. I didn't tell him, of course.
And see, that's different. Like, if I'm going to meet a celebrity and talk to them, chances are I'm going to ask you a question about, your body of work or mention something about you. So I always think like, well, that person doesn't want to just talk about themselves. Like that's not really having a conversation.
Especially their work.
Yeah, you're just talking about you.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know much about Alice in Chains, so I didn't ask him a lot of questions. We talked more about creating and like the process and shit like that.
That's different. That's a real meaningful
he was a fun guy to hang out with. Like that I enjoyed.
Eric?
And I think over the years too, from being at K-Rock and being here, we've all seen people, if we went to get a photo or something signed, we've seen other people try to do, hey, remember last time you were here?
Right.
And it's embarrassing to watch these other people do it. So we kind of learned early on, maybe, being around Jim too, we learned early on that you don't do that because it just comes off awkward and everyone watching it is embarrassed for you.
And they don't remember. They almost never do. And so it's like, what am I going to delude myself into thinking we're having a moment? I'm a time killer for them. Unless they're watching me perform, if they know I'm a comic and we talk, that's different because then I think they really want to talk to me.
I just always, I like getting celebrity pictures, but I never feel like as much of a fucking asshole as I do when I'm standing there waiting to get a picture taken.
Oh, really? See, that doesn't bother me at all.
Like when I'm waiting with other people who are also going to get a picture, or when I'm waiting for him to finish a conversation he's having with somebody so I can just stand next to him to take a picture. That's my most feeling like an asshole moment.
It is kind of embarrassing, but for me, it's like I have the extra thing where I can use it in the act, and sometimes it has to happen naturally. Like I don't do things to make it more interesting. 90% of them are not worth talking about on stage.
Yeah.
But De Niro turning me down, or Diana Ross turning me down, or me and 50 Cent getting the picture, or like a lot of them become bits naturally. And those to me is like, well, I can possibly use it someday in work.
Or when Chip gets to meet celebrities.
Yeah, he does the fucking. Or I was talking
helps.
to Gloria Estefan and fucking they snapped the picture, so it's Gloria and Chip.
You deserve it.
It's a fucking terrible photo.
Rick in St. Louis, you're on Opie and Anthony minus. Well, Opie and Anthony.
Hey, good morning, faggots. How are you?
Hi, good.
Very well, thanks.
I like you guys being in radio and entertainment, man. Over the years, I've met hundreds of celebrities, and the coolest one that I met was Denzel Washington. And I interviewed him before a football game. After the game, I held the door open for him. I said, thanks, Mr. Washington. Great to meet you. And he said, great to meet you, Mr. White. And he remembered my name. Cool. And I did end up meeting him about a year and a half later, and he did remember me.
He did or didn't?
Oh, he did. He certainly did.
Yeah, you'll get some people that do. Like, some people, it's amazing when they do.
It's amazing that Denzel did.
Well, it was like literally right after he.
But he said a year later he still did.
I met him a year later.
Unless he was lying.
For our football team.
Yeah, he is an Oscar-winning actor, dude. He might have been faking.
Exactly, he was lying to you.
But you don't know. The worst is when you think they're going to remember you and they don't. Like, I'm surprised sometimes when some people don't remember me. Like, yeah, we had a really good interview with this guy. That I'm surprised at.
Was that the Sugar Ray thing?
Sugar Ray, I was surprised at because we had a really good... And he sits an inch from me.
Yeah.
And I'm talking and I'm engaging him.
Making direct eye contact.
Yeah. Sir?
Did you just make a farting sound before he hung up?
Well, sorry, sir. What else did you want us to talk to you about?
Yeah, really?
Fucking Hurricane or X?
I don't have your name disappeared from the phone screen, but you're on the air. Austin?
Dustin in Texas.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, Jim, maybe you didn't even realize it, but you Sugar Ray Leonard me in Austin.
Well, it probably wasn't intentional, dude. But I wasn't.
No. Hold on. This is my big moment.
Okay. Fair enough.
let me wrap it up quickly, and I'll hang up. You're a big deal to me. You really are, and
thank you.
Bought my tickets and, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, just like Sam said, I felt like a big old asshole standing in line there. And Kenny's hollering at me to take the plastic off the DVD I bought and all the bullshit. And then I went to shake hands with you, and you said, "Did you get my picture?" I don't know why you said that. And I fucking, I was just wanting to take a picture real quick. And you said, "Did you get my picture?" And then I started going back and forth about, Alex Jones and bullshit. And then my wife goes, "Oh, he recognized you." I said, "No, he did the old fake fucking, I remember you shit." And
no, wait, why would I ask you? Did you? I don't know what you mean. You said, "Did I get your picture?"
I'm nervous. Let me start. The first time you interviewed Alex Jones, and I tweeted you an open ant in the middle of the night because I got upset about, the first Alex Jones interview. And
I wonder if did I remember you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
What's the matter, Rupert?
I said,
Sir? Where'd he go?
He quit. He tapped out.
I'm trying to figure out what he's talking about.
I don't know. I have no clue.
But he just panicked and hung up.
It sounded like
Get my picture.
maybe he took a picture. He got a picture with you, and you asked him if he got it. I don't know, but it was very strange. I guess we'll go to our pal Marcos in Yonkers. Marcos.
Hey, what's going on, Sam? Hi, Jimmy.
Hey.
Hey, I was going to say the worst celebrity meeting I've ever had was Brian Dennehy. That guy was an asshole. I was working in the city doing car service, and I seen him crossing the street, and I was like, "Hey, you're Brian Dennehy." And he looked at me with his face like, "Arr!" He just walked away.
What is he?
He wasn't nice to me when I met him either.
Is he a pirate?
I don't know. It was just like this mean, get away from me look. And
How long ago was that, Marcos?
this must have been like maybe 6 years ago.
Why?
Well, I was just, if Brian Dennehy is being recognized on the street, he should probably be pretty appreciative.
Yeah. He was kind
Thanks,
of cocky to me
Marcos.
when I met him.
You said Martin Sheen was the best.
He was the best celebrity I've ever met. The nicest guy. Very genuine. You could always feel that when someone's being genuine with you, and
Yeah.
he was being very pleasant. And Emilio was very nice as well.
What do you think of the celebrities showing up to the Wall Street thing?
Depends on how they feel. I mean, just because they're a celebrity doesn't mean that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
I guess they give it a certain amount of weight because they get coverage, so people listen to them, and it does help an event. And Susan Sarandon shows up at stuff like this, and
She's
Russell
political.
Simmons I wouldn't be surprised at.
You're in support of the Wall Street protesters,
I am,
right?
yeah, I am. Even though I agree with Ant's assessment of a lot of them, I don't disagree with what he's saying. I hate those guys who are making that much money off the bailouts. Like those guys, there's a mentality there. They're worse than guys putting guns in people's faces. These fucking, not the average stockbroker, a guy who's making a living and is trying to deal with you fair, but these twats that know they're taking government money and are still going to fucking give $80 million to. It's just they should be executed.
It seems though the protesters though, because they don't have enough, maybe because they need central leadership or they don't have organization, that there's no goal. Like,
right, probably right.
A lot of them, it seems like they want complete reformation of the economic system, and that's completely unrealistic. That's never going to happen. Like, as much attention as the protests are getting now, because they're all over the place, you would think that they would kind of try to figure out a realistic goal.
No, that's not going to happen.
They could sit down and talk,
because they're doing what they've always done. They're mad, and they're going to tell you that they're mad, but they're not going to do anything about it.
And there's no solution.
Which is why they're in the situations that they're all in.
Because you'd think with as much attention as this is getting, I'm sure if there was a leader, Obama would probably talk to the leader and figure out what's going on and what they're after. And if they're after something realistic, maybe they could actually make it happen.
I saw a guy with a sign that said, "I'm $100,000 in debt from student loans. I have my house. I can't afford my house. This and that." And this is the guy that's at the Wall Street protest complaining that all these things have happened to him. Now, if you've just managed your life a little more productively and a little more responsibly, you wouldn't be in that situation.
What about the people that do it right and still get fucked? Like all the guys that got ripped off by Bernie Madoff or the fucking all these other people that are just making this kind of money, or we the taxpayers who are doing things right.
There should be outrage about that. But I don't think that the outrage at the Wall Street, I don't think it's coming through clearly.
Yeah, it's unfocused,
and that's the problem.
but I think that's the basic. I keep forgetting the company's name. Solyndra was the final straw. And this was an Obama-backed thing, yeah. But I think that was the final straw of seeing this shit get done, especially after it happened. The government is giving these companies money, and these fucking pieces of shit are doing what they're doing with it. What are the only other... I agree that people should be doing more action, but the action I would love to see them committing is I would love to see them committing horrible acts against certain people.
Like what?
Whatever it is that mob mentality dictates to somebody who stole fucking $100 million while the economy is like this.
Yeah.
Whatever mob mentality would dictate, you should do to some fucking vulture who has no caring about anybody else but himself.
Because they're costing the entire country money.
And they know what they're doing, and they have enough. I have nothing against people that make $1 billion. Like Steve Jobs earned his money. He really did. I have no qualm with a guy making that kind of money, or Bill Gates money. But when you're in a company and you're taking that kind of money from the government because your company's failing and you've probably fucking failed as an administrator, and then you're still taking $80 million, I think that Roseanne was right, and you should be beheaded.
Yeah.
In a legal system. I think the system should put you on trial and fucking behead you.
But I just wish that they could actually use the momentum that they have to get something done and to figure out, okay, this actually, because I feel like it worked. Like, I feel like this protest thing worked because they've got a ton of attention. They have the world looking at them, to a certain extent. And now it's spreading out into Boston, and it's spreading out all over the place. Now I feel like people should say, okay, enough with the sort of, this means different things to everybody. We might actually be able to accomplish something here if we could just all get to a common ground and make it something realistic, not, anarchy. Like, that's never going to happen.
But they're not going to. There's not going to be enough people to agree on one focus.
That's
what's going to.
Then half the protesters start protesting the other protesters.
Yeah, because they're never going to be able to agree.
Yeah,
there's just too many. There's too many polarizations of views going on.
Yeah, they are a lot of unfocused shit. I think it's just unfocused anger.
Yeah.
And the people on Wall Street, I have no problem with them taking the brunt of this. Because again, they were fucking giving out loans that they knew aren't going to be good and betting against them. They're just fucking dirtbags.
And that's what it is, the anger. Like, this protest is a great visualization of the anger that people feel, but it's not getting anything done. Like, we're at the point now where, okay, now we can get something done, or just kind of fizzle out and nothing happens.
And if it's like, I agree, like Ant will say things like people got to do their homework and learn about, and he's right. You really do have to do that. You have to know what you're doing financially. But when you're dealing in a financial world, they are always going to know more than you do.
Yeah.
I'm never going to know more than a fucking guy that works for Bank of America.
And it's not crazy to believe the guy who works at your bank when either he's lying to you or his boss is lying to him, or people are being lied to and having their money taken, and it's gone now.
It's like we can all get ripped off by a used car dealer. Even if you do your homework and know kind of what you're doing, unless you've done that for a living, you're not going to know more than the guy who works there.
At the end of the day, that guy, the guy's not in the business to try to get you in a great car. He's trying to make money.
Right.
So so I understand. Like, I'm not going to sit here and get all upset that the guy who sold me the car made some money on it, because that's what he has to do to survive.
It's one thing if he made money off you.
Fine.
It's another thing if he destroyed your life.
Sure. And hey, look, I hear you. And I used to be a loan officer, so I know all about shady mortgages and stuff. Believe me.
Yeah.
But it's at the end of the day, I want to make my money. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't be agreeing to a mortgage loan that's 80% of your monthly income. But just because that you can get it at 80% doesn't mean that you should say okay.
But what's more repulsive? Somebody living beyond their means and like kind of wanting to buy into that dream of having a house and a nice situation, or some fucking cocksucker who knows better and who knows what's going to happen and is like a parasite making money off that fucking
but
mentality.
You know what? If you don't have any debt and you could afford your mortgage payments, that's not going to happen. It's the person who already has $50,000 in credit card debt. They want to roll that into their mortgage that they already, have some shitty percentage on. They have shitty credit. They're paying 7%. I mean, these are the people that get fucked. But you know what? It's kind of like, well, you had all the information that was available to me was available to you. So whose fucking fault is it?
But when somebody comes in,
then everyone who gets ripped off should feel that way. Anyone who gets ripped off should say, all the information that was available to me. It's almost like that's what the problem is. It's like if you get fucked, you kind of deserved it. And I make a good amount of money, but I don't lie to people for it. And I don't I'm not a piece of shit for it.
Maybe if you're buying like a piece of art or something, but like, for a mortgage, that's one of like the biggest decisions that you're ever going to make. And I'm not going to start looking, I'm not going to just willy-nilly take a $500,000 chunk of credit with just anybody who says anything to me. I'm going to go and I'm going to look and I'm going to make sure that I could afford this. I'm going to do all the math. I'm not going to have my loan officer do my math. And that's what a lot of these people do because they're just fucking lazy. They go, well, can I afford this? And then the other guy goes, well, let's see. You have this. But the point is that guy, that loan officer, he wants to make his money, so he's going to try to make as much of it as possible. But you still have the opportunity to do your own math, figure out for yourself what I can afford, what I can't afford, where's the best deal for me. But most people just want someone else to do their work for them.
But if that guy is going to do whatever's necessary to make money off those people, regardless of being honest or fair, then he's a scumbag. Okay, it's about making money, but he's a scumbag because he's doing something that he knows is. It's like me taking a deposit for a gig. But everybody I'm not going to do.
But you know what though? You want to talk about bankers, and you want to look at a banker and say, well, who are these people that are giving them mortgages, right? And everybody has this image of like some Gordon Gekko guy with cufflinks and shit, and he's got his latte. But in the real world, it's just some kid who's working on draw versus commission, and he just wants to buy a fucking pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, but it filters down. If there was a high penalty for that, if the bank wasn't encouraging it, it wouldn't. And a lot of people blame the government because they were guaranteeing the loans. But if the bank, if it wasn't encouraged by the bank to do it, or if he knew he couldn't do it, he wouldn't.
And when a stupid person walks in, and there are lots of stupid people that need loans, because primarily stupid people. You know what I mean? Because there's so many stupid people, but there's a certain responsibility that an intelligent person has to say, this is a capitalistic society. I can get a couple more dollars off this guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to take him for all he's worth when you know he's not going to be able to pay this off, and to kind of, because you can convince him to do that, is, like you said, a scumbag move.
I mean, look, I sold a few mortgages in my day, and there was definitely a few of them where it's just like, if it was me, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? But, people, they get so excited about interest rates, and it's like, you just went from having your house half paid off to putting yourself back in debt for another 30 years. Now, you're out of credit card debt, but that's because you added it into your mortgage. Hey, if that makes sense to you, whatever. But I'm not going to talk you out of it if I'm making $3,000 on it. That's all I'm saying.
But like, as an employee, do you look at the company, like it's not just this company, it's any company you work for. If they haven't given you a raise in 3 years, you feel rage about that. And you should. But you don't look at it like, hey, you know what? This company can do that, so fuck me, they're doing it. It's like that's the same mentality. It's that same make money at any cost. And nobody who didn't get a raise looks at it and goes, the boss is being fair. Like, the boss should give me the minimal amount possible because it's all about making a bigger profit. You comprehend that, you know it, but it still bothers you, it still hurts you, it still makes you angry, and you still think it's unfair.
As a guy who's selling the customer the mortgage, I don't have any vested interest in making them happy after the sale.
Well, then these people complaining about the system and the mentality of capitalism are not 100%. If that's what we are as a fucking, like, as much money as America gives to people who are in earthquakes and floods, and as much compassion as we show, if we're that sickening and blood hungry, where we don't give a fuck, and I'm not saying you should think for other people, but if at some point, I guess we bought a house and my father got put out of work, so I kind of know what that's like to be on food stamps and shit. And that wasn't a vulture mentality. That just happened.
And that's the difference between getting a few extra points because they're a stupid person and knowing full well that you just fucked up the rest of this person's life for the purpose of your commission.
Is the loan officer a vulture, or is the loan officer a survivalist? Because look, when I don't know if you ever
we're
worked
not
on
living
draw,
in a cutthroat, like, you don't need to put him out of business.
Have you ever worked on draw versus commission?
No.
Do you know what it's like to go 3-4 weeks without a paycheck unless you sell something?
Well, and that's a systematic problem. I mean, that's why we wouldn't blame.
I'm not going to sit there and say, this guy really can't afford this mortgage. I probably shouldn't sell it to him. Or am I thinking, gee, I need to figure out how I'm paying my fucking rent in a week.
That's why the problem is not with loan officers.
Right,
it's
like
with
we're
the
not
entire
attacking
system from the top to
yes,
the bottom.
That's why I'm not saying that the stockbrokers themselves, the day-to-day guys, and you could classify the loan officers as that too. I understand those guys are trying to hustle and make a living, but they're doing what the bank encourages. Like, there are certain people that won't get a loan because they can't, because they know they can't do it, because the bank will not approve it. Those loan officers can't just approve things that the bank is going to come down and go, what the fuck are you doing? The bank is okaying it, and they know it.
Well, the bank also puts in, there's got to be a line drawn somewhere. So it's just like, all right, your loan to value should be up to this amount. So people say, oh, well, I could go up to that amount. It's like, no. You really shouldn't go up to that amount. You should probably stay at about like 40, 50%. Just because you can go to 80% doesn't mean that you could. Just because you get a credit card with a $10,000 spending limit just doesn't say, hey, I could buy something for $9,000. No. But they do. And that's not the bank's fault per se. Like, I understand that the bank is definitely to blame. I'm not going to say that, hey, I'm defending the banks. They're not doing anything wrong. It's everyone's doing everything wrong. But we should, as much blame as we're placing on the banks, we need to be placing on ourselves and our own decision making process, and we need to say, hey, I can't afford this, so instead of just saying, well, let's see what happens, I'll just sign some papers and then we'll see what happens down the line, make the responsible decision, take a look at what's in front of you and say, fuck it, you know what, I can't afford this, I'm not going to sign this.
But like, look at the bank, they give a 0.5% interest, and they take, after taking our money in a bailout, these motherfuckers. When's the last time? All they want. You think they're not going to foreclose on people's houses? These fucking cunts. They 0.5% interest they pay, and they demand 6%. They're completely unfair. That's why they're so hated. Banks used to be a place that you trusted, and they're fucking hated. And it's the guys at the top that are making the loan officer is not making the decision or signing the paperwork to take the bailout money and then fucking filter 100 million of it to some other cocksucker that didn't do his job. But that's not the average loan
That's
officer.
the majority of people. That's the car salesman. You know what I'm saying? That's the guy who's selling you that car. He's the so the banks never deal with you on a one-on-one really level like that. I mean, I'm sure some banks do. The place that I worked for didn't work like that. So if you wanted a mortgage with the place I was working at, you were just dealing with me, and I was going to make sure that I not fucked you, but I needed to make sure that I got paid.
But you were
because I needed to make money too, just like everyone else.
But you were
does.
doing things in the framework of what you were allowed to do.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And what you're allowed to do is dictated by the bank itself and by the people who are higher up. And that's why those words were my fucking annoyance.
And you know what though? And you don't have to take a 95% loan to value either.
Absolutely.
You don't have to do that.
Absolutely.
And I can't tell you how many people did. I can't tell you how many people took 100%. I can't tell you how many people would take 105%. They would take 100% of value and then some.
Why would the bank let them do that?
You're right. Why did they let them? But is it why did the bank let them? Or why the fuck did they?
Well, to that, I mean, we talk about on this show all the time, and Opie's brought it up recently about, what do you learn in school? And
it's garbage what you learn in school.
Yeah, and you come out of school and you're never taught real life economics.
I don't understand why Wall Street and the stock market isn't taught in high school. I have no idea why it's not taught.
And even taking in high school, you should learn how to take out a mortgage and how loans work and all this stuff. Of course, everybody should be taught this.
Everyone out there, if you don't have any prepayment penalties on your mortgage, you should be paying at least an extra payment a year.
But do you know
into your mortgage? Because just by doing that cuts down your mortgage payments by 8 years.
Do you know how many
30 into
how many people right now that sentence you just said is a foreign language? They don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
And I'm a retard. So if you guys don't know this out there and you have homes and mortgages, I most likely will never be a homeowner. It's a sad thing in this country, but I will probably 90% sure will never be a homeowner. So if you're going to actually have a home, you should fucking do the research. I mean, look, I only know this shit because it was my bread and butter for a few months.
Right.
But you know what? If I was going to buy a house, holy shit, would I be doing my research?
I bought the condo, and because of Vinny, who taught me about amortization.
Sure.
I learned about that from Vinny Brand, and I paid it off because I was able to. And I hated the banks so much, I resented giving them interest. But to me, there's just a mentality. And Carlin had an amazing bit about what repulsive businessmen were. because you're preying on something. Like if you give somebody a loan and they say, hey, up to 95%, whatever you just called it, they think that the bank is doing that. No one is thinking like, oh, the bank is doesn't give a fuck if I can pay this or not.
Right.
You're thinking that the bank is only going to do the responsible thing. And maybe that's naive.
That is naive.
But we are raised to trust that. It's like when a cop pulls you over, you're not trained to think like this could be an imposter who's going to rape my wife at gunpoint because this is really a cop.
They're the expert.
Siren. They're the expert. And there's a certain amount of good faith in business that you should have. And they don't need to do that.
I think a lot of people go into banks not realizing that the business model, like you said, Danny, isn't that far off from a used car salesman.
Oh no, it's not.
Right, and people don't realize it
because we're taught to respect banks.
Right,
and the penalty for robbing a bank is 25 years if you walk in with a gun. I mean, you can murder somebody and get out a lot sooner than that. So banks are put in this place of worship in this country, and you go on a certain amount of faith. And anyway, if we feel that like, hey, look, let the buyer beware, then in our jobs, if the company fucks us, then hey, they're right to do it.
The buyer does have to beware, you do. I mean, you can't just sign the biggest decision of your life without being cautious
I agree.
a little bit.
That's
Put it this
true,
way,
too.
I had a note out on a motorcycle, right? And the interest was ridiculous. But I was paying it because, you know what, I was building my credit, and that's how I looked at it. I said, hey, here's an installment loan. It looks good on my credit report, so I'll just pay it. But it got to the point where I was just like, I don't need to pay this anymore. So I called the bank, and I said, listen, I'll still give you interest. I just won't give you as much interest. And they said no, they wouldn't cut my rate down. So I just said fuck you, and I paid it off. And that's the way that people need to be dealing with banks and things, not getting themselves so fucked into a situation that you can't get out of it.
And do they ever just call you and lower the interest rate when the times are good? They're shit.
Yes,
they're fucking shit. And I don't mind a guy making money. I'm not saying the banks shouldn't make money. Of course they should.
John in Boston, you're on the show.
Yeah, I have to agree with Danny, believe it or not. I simply don't. I was a bill collector for years, and the responsibility really needs to land on the consumer. I mean, there are deals that are given, and the consumer doesn't, responsible consumers take in consideration their spending habits, where, unresponsible, irresponsible consumers don't. And then they get into deals that they can't afford in the future, and they blame it on the banks, they blame it on the financial institutions, but the bottom line is, they put their pen to paper and they signed it.
But dude, I in theory, you're right. And if the behavior of these people was pretty fair, and there was just a lot of people who couldn't pay their loans because they lived beyond their means, I would go, you know what, you guys are 100% right. But when you look at the way they behave, like Bernie Madoff stole $1 billion from Holocaust charities, and he's in a fucking minimum security jail. These brokers were betting against the fucking loans they were giving. Like, that's the mentality I'm talking about. This is not just about, hey, a bunch of middle-class people or lower-class people financially tried to be upper-class and got fucked, because there is that scumbag vulture mentality in the financial industry. It's not that, like, they're being fair and everybody else is a bunch of dummies who lives beyond their means. But you're right, the consumers should know what they're doing. I'm not saying that they're without responsibility.
I think it goes hand in hand, honestly. I mean, you can't make a bad decision without someone else trying to take advantage of your bad decision, I guess. So,
yeah.
So, it's like, if people were smarter about their investments, Bernie Madoff wouldn't have had any money to steal. So,
it'd be nice if we just lived in a utopia where everybody knew what was going on and none of the bankers wanted to take advantage of it.
There's always going to be a sucker, and there's always going to be someone to take advantage of that. So there's always going to be carnies and rubes. There's always going to be carnies and rubes.
But people that got killed by Bernie Madoff couldn't have known, because there were people on the stock market exchange who suspected he had a Ponzi scheme going, and they couldn't prove it, or they would get shut down. There's no way an investor could have known that. Yeah. Unless there's something so inside. But I'm an investor, dude. I don't know that kind of shit. That's like an investor, get up there and do stand up or come here and do radio. They can't do it.
Well, I can't say it's the same thing, but I had money in like full tilt poker. Like everything just went under and stuff. Now, I can't start screaming, oh, if I'm never going to get my... No, why? Because I knew what I was getting myself into in the first place. Is it a Ponzi scheme? Yes, no, I don't know. But I'm not going to get all mad about it because I knew where my money was. My money was in an offshore gambling site.
Yeah, you're probably mad at first.
No.
Even for a second. You didn't get pissed off.
I mean, look, what did I lose in there? Probably like $20. Who knows? But I'm saying, even if I had like a couple of grand in there, I mean, look at what you're dealing with.
But you know that going in, we don't look at the banks with the same level of revulsion we look at offshore poker people with. We should.
Yeah, which maybe we should.
And maybe that's what the people on Wall Street are doing. Maybe they can't focus their anger exactly on something, but they know that something is despicable. That's what it feels like. And I normally hate that mentality. But after having dealt with Bank of America and seeing the incompetence and how they don't give a fuck about you as a customer, they really don't.
No one does. It's very difficult to run into a company that actually treats you nicely. I expect to be treated like a piece of shit.
You know who's treated me nicely? Honestly, as Apple and Mac are good to customers. Like, their customer service is pretty good. And when I've gone into the Mac store, there's times we have to go to the Genius Bar, but they are all pretty informed, and it all filters from downhill. They don't treat you like shit when you're in there. They really don't. They come over, they're courteous. You do feel like, and if you go back with a problem, they take good care of it.
As Apple's popularity has been going up, and they've had to bring more staff into all the stores, I'm finding a lot more, maybe not here in the city, but like outside the city, a lot more store employees that aren't nearly as informed as they used to be.
Yeah, I feel like, I've only had limited experience with Apple customer service, but I find that it could be incredibly hit and miss. You could find a guy who's great and he takes care of you like a motherfucker, and then there's the guy that just sucks. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Kevin, Jersey.
Hey, what's up, guys? I just want to really disagree with Danny and the fact that he's lining up on the side of, you got mortgage brokers that were unscrupulous like him. You got real estate brokers that are fucking...
No, I wasn't unscrupulous.
Yeah, dude, you are.
How do you...
You knew people couldn't afford these loans, and you were pushing them.
I wasn't pushing them. No. There's a big difference between...
You just said it. I heard you. I'm sitting in my fucking car now, and I heard you say that.
Kev.
But, like... All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
When I present you with a loan that's a 95% loan to value, I don't have to, that's not me. If you agree to that, I didn't sell it to you. That means I am financing 95% of my fucking life. Yeah, 95% of my monthly paycheck is going to go to this. Does that sound like a great deal? Do I have to sell that to you? I mean, look, if you're going to sign that, you're going to sign it. Why should I have to talk you out of something? I'm going to talk you out of my commission on that? Why should I do that? I need to get paid just like everybody else does, but that doesn't mean that I'm pushing it on you.
Yeah, you need to get paid by screwing people over. You rather be on the side of the people with all of the freaking bankers, all of the mortgage
No, that's not true.
All of the real estate agents, instead of a person, a human being that wanted to get a home for himself and his family.
And he couldn't afford it, but he did so anyway.
Yeah, maybe they couldn't afford it, but, like, nobody can afford shit. Look at our government. We're in fucking debt all the time. Like, they can't afford their shit.
So what? So if the government jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge, you would do it too?
But you know what? That's not a bad point, though. The whole country lives beyond our means. The whole country does.
Exactly. That's my point. Like, anybody's going to go...
So you should be able to do it, too, on a personal level.
And then you want to be the person that's going to help them to push them over that edge, to go over...
No, I'm not going to be the person to... Look, if you
think that's right, that's all I want to know.
If you want to spend beyond, if you want to go ahead and spend 95% of your monthly income on a mortgage, that's your decision. I have nothing to do with that. Okay? If you can't afford a house in this country, well then I guess you're renting, buddy. I mean, I'm going to be renting for the rest of my life. I cannot afford a house. You're not going to find me on the phone with a loan officer talking about a 100% loan to value deal. It's not going to happen because I know I can't afford it. What I'm saying is that you're coming into a bank, you're saying, give me this loan I can't afford, and I go, okay. And then you want to blame me because I didn't talk you out of it. That's not what happens.
But it's also, there is a mentality when you're praying, when I shouldn't even say praying, when you know, wanting a home is different than going from a Ford to a Lamborghini. Wanting a home is it's like you're taught it's the American dream. To me, it's almost like
you are taught.
If I'm out with a chick and I know she'll fuck me, but she doesn't really want to. She wants love, and I tell her I love her just to fuck her. Mm-hmm. To me, I really won't do that. I'm a piece of shit, but I won't say I love you and lie on that emotional level, because to me that's a vulture move. Yeah, she's dumb for fucking me. Yeah, she's dumb for believing it. But there's something in me that is so bothered by having to lie like that, like.
So dangling that house in front of somebody who can't afford it, but
just don't give them the loan.
Right.
Like, don't give them the loan. You assume as a consumer that when the bank gives you the loan, they wouldn't do something wrong. And it's a stupid assumption, just like that girl wants to believe that if I say I love you, I really do, and she's not being a fucking anonymous whore by giving me a pussy. But I won't do it.
Well,
It feels vulturish.
The person wants the loan, and I want to get paid. If I got a salary, maybe I'd have some more morals and ethics. But you know what? I'm not getting paid unless you get a loan. So get a fucking loan.
Well, and that's the problem. You need
I'm a scumbag. I'm a scumbag because I want to get a paycheck too. Everybody wants to get paid.
Shit rolls downhill, my friend. Rory in Michigan. Rory.
Hello?
No Rory. Then instead we'll go to Joe in Brooklyn.
Hey guys, it's Joel actually. I just want to say good morning.
Hello.
Danny, for the most part I like you, so it's going to sound like I'm attacking you a little bit. Don't take it to heart. But I think
He's very sensitive, Joel.
I know he's not, guys. I know. But look, I think really one of the big fundamental problems here is that Wall Street, and not necessarily Wall Street, but the banks mostly, have the smartest people in the nation, and they recruit them constantly. And they're basically looking at ways to dance around, or as close as they can, to just fucking someone. And, I hate to defend the rubes and stuff, but when your goal in life is really just to fuck, people that are a little less intelligent as much as you possibly can.
No, but this guy's right.
I just feel like there's something really wrong about that. And Danny, dude, you're right. You gotta fucking be informed.
But do you understand? Do you realize that what you're saying is opportunism is what built this country? Taking advantage of someone who is stupider than you is called business.
Then we can't be mad when the company does it to us. That's the point I'm making. If we're going to live by that value system, fair enough. But then, don't get mad if this company goes, you know what? I'm not going to give anybody a raise. Matter of fact, we're cutting you 30%. It's we all know how that feels. I don't like it.
If you're willing to abide by that, you better make sure you're the smartest person.
And the feeling of being fucked. When I'm fucked, I never feel like, hey, you know what? I've fucked other people. I get angry and I want to strangle who's fucking me. And there's always the person doing the fucking always justifies it to themselves. Nobody thinks I'm a vulture and I'm a piece of shit who's making $80 million off the backs of people who I probably went to high school with. Nobody realizes they're being a vulture. We all self-justify. I don't steal material because it's shitty. You know what I mean? I could, but there's something inside of me that would feel like I needed a fucking shower if I did that. There's no value in that.
And I agree, but at the same time, there needs to be a level of responsibility on the consumer level. Like you can't just say, "Oh, the bank did it." Well, it's like, no, you did it too, okay? Because the bank didn't come to you and force your hand on a piece of paper. Like the numbers were all in front of you; they were all there, okay? But buying a house is not a guaranteed investment. It's not backed by the FDIC. It is a risk. You might as well take $500,000 and go to fucking Mohegan Sun. It's the same thing. So just because you lost, you can't start complaining that the banks fucked you. You need to be in control of your situation. You need to rationally decide what is financially viable for you. And if you can't make that decision and you're going to let a bank do that for you, then you deserve whatever you get.
That's the way we should look at our jobs. If we're not making the money we want to make.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, then get a better fucking job.
We should be happy with that. No, but I don't mean just get a better job. I mean, if we're not making the money we want to make and we know the company's being unfair, we should accept that unfairness and not only accept it, but understand it and take it in stride and not be bitter about it and not be angry about it and not feel fucked over by it. But we don't, and I say we because I mean me too. We don't react that way. We understand human nature.
But I think that comparing the two is kind of different. I mean, a guy going to a bank for a loan and an employee at a company, I think, I don't.
But the company knows that they don't have to give you a raise. You're gonna stay. You're gonna keep working. So why would they give you a raise? That's money out of their pocket.
Right. It's the mentality is the same though. Even though it's different, the mentality is the people who have a tremendous amount of it are being unscrupulous or not being fair. I don't mean they shouldn't want to make a huge profit because they have stockholders to answer to, but there's a level of fairness that, and the consumers are guilty too because we're all greedy pigs because lawyers don't put a gun to your head and make you sue. You go to a lawyer and go, I want to sue because I slipped. It is really all of us. But that guy was right too. They do recruit the smartest fucking people. And, I think when they're preying on what people have, like, as the American dream, it's just something that bothers me about that. It always has.
Richie, New York.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking me. I actually work for one of these companies that you guys tend to badmouth, and I'm actually a trained investment analyst. And, not that my personal opinion matters, but I tend to side with Danny because all information is free. I mean, Jimmy, you can find trannies no problem on Google, right? So anybody who wants to learn about how to borrow money or how to analyze an investment or what a house should be worth compared to rent can spend their time figuring that out. Instead, they're watching the Kardashians.
Okay.
Or
Absolutely.
Great.
They know everything about the 1962 Mets, but they don't know anything about the $500.
Absolutely. That's
Excellent
a great point.
And then I'll say this, buddy, and I'll let you finish.
I have a solution to all this, actually, that will work, that will be market-based. And here's how you can tell if your lawmakers are for the people or against the people. It's really simple. Economic cycles are typically about 7 years long, right? So if there's fraud or whatever going on in a bank, it will be exposed within 5, 6, 7 years. So what you can do is, like you're saying, all these scumbags, they make all this, the executives make all this compensation off 2005 business, 2006 business, which turns out to be fake. You have what's called a clawback. If you want to be a publicly traded company in the United States, meaning you want to list your stock on the exchange or borrow money in the debt markets, and you're a bank, a financial company, insurance company, whatever, your executives should have a 10-year clawback. That means right now, any business that was done in 2002 that was turned out to be bogus and the company had to restate earnings, those executives should have to give all the money back. The SEC would have the power to get this law through. You would see in Congress who would vote for that. Now, I'm personally, I fall on the side of personal responsibility, like I said, but at the same time, if you really want to stop predatory stuff, you just hit them where it hurts and make it unprofitable.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. All right, dude, hold on. All information's available. Fair enough. So let's stack the deck evenly. If you're going to behave that way, and I mean the collective you, not you personally, about going, hey, we know what we're doing, we're dancing by the line, then how about you face what would happen if you fucking walked up to somebody in the street and stole from them? Or if you sold...
I agree.
Hold on.
Kill these guys. I agree with you.
Okay, then the penalty should be... The penalty should be even then. But they don't want that. I agree. They don't want that. They don't want the penalty to be even. They want to be able to keep fucking people and keep fucking preying on that shit, and not one person, myself included, looks at my own being fucked the same way. We are all indignant when we're fucked. We're all out. Sir, I'm talking with you. I'm going to stop. Every time I pause to take a breath, you don't have to jump in. I know you're here.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jimmy.
That's right.
I'm just so excited because I feel like I do have a good answer here, which is...
I don't disagree with you.
10 years. Like, in other words, if they put on all this housing market business that turned out to be fake in 2005, 2006, 2007, and they get millions... That business has to settle for 10 years before they can act. Like, in other words, if the company goes back and says, oh, that was fake and we're restating earnings, they have to give all that compensation back. Then none of these guys would run businesses in the short term. Also, make the banks eat their own cooking. Like, don't let them sell out of all the mortgages they originate. If they have to actually own that bad loan, their underwriting will be better. I mean, there's a bunch of things that could be put into place.
Okay.
If the right people would suggest it and get in front of Congress.
Absolutely.
But you will see, if this gets proposed, you will see which congressmen and which senators are really in the pocket, because I think if a guy can make $80 million running a bank and that bank is profitable and it's profitable for 10 years and doesn't blow up the American economy by lending money to idiots, then so be it. But let's have a provision in there where they can't raise the money to do that in the first place unless they agree to, look, 10 years. You know, we'll pay you enough to live.
Okay.
Whatever, $500,000, $1 million a year. But after that, like, if you want to make millions and millions of dollars, it's subject to a clawback that if that business from that year that you get paid from ever turns out to be bad...
Right, you have to get back. Fair enough.
It's not a bad idea.
No, it's not.
I think 10 years is plenty, considering the economic cycles are, 5, 7 years?
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you very
Richie.
much. That's actually a really good point. But basically it is put something in system to prevent them from being scumbags.
Yeah.
And the point that I make is it just bothers me that we have to do that. And I know that is business and all's fair, but we have to be consistent and look at it the same way. Yeah. It's like if I'm stealing jokes and then I'm killing somebody else for stealing jokes, well, I got no fucking business either stealing them or killing someone else for doing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we all get fucked and we all get angry when we get fucked.
Well,
I hate being fucked.
We should take a break.
Yeah, I might leave. It's already 9:20 and I got to catch a flight. This whole flight thing's been a disaster today.
You might or might not.
Yeah, I might leave. I probably will be gone when we come back.
Well, if Jim's gone... Then maybe I'll just do the after show until 10, and then play Word Stuff until Ron and Fez.
It's up to you what you do.
Jim's...
I don't know what to tell you.
I don't care what you do. It's up to you.
We keep leaving these listeners wanting more. These phones are nuts.
Well, you know what? That's a little strategy. Keep them wanting more.
Keep them wanting more.
Because then they're going to listen tomorrow. And you know what they're going to ask for? They're going to call in, and they're going to hear Opie and Anthony on the air.
Who are these?
And they're going to be...
What are they doing?
We want our morning jam.
Get up
Folks, it's Jim and Sam on the Morning Jam.
We had a very, very happy vacation. We had a very happy vacation. We had a very, very happy vacation. We had a very happy vacation tonight. We had a very Garrison, fight less or head, Garrison tonight. We had a very, very Garrison, fight tonight. We had a very Garrison, fight less or head, Garrison tonight. We had a very, very Garrison, fight tonight. We had a very, very happy vacation. We had a very happy vacation. We had a very, very happy vacation. We had a very happy vacation tonight.
Oh no!